Most of us carry around a few internal generalizations, like I'm no good at public speaking, or I just don't have the discipline for a diet. These aren't facts, but they act as a straitjacket for our potential. Today, we're using the structured learning framework of the dummies ecosystem to identify and loosen these mental constraints. This happens because of a specific neurological filter called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It acts as a selective gate for your brain. If you believe you're a poor speller, the RAS actually filters out the job advertisement for a reporter, not because you can't do the job, but because the RAS is tuned only to let in information that confirms your existing self-bias. To fix this, we look to the principles of neuro-linguistic programming. In this framework, beliefs are treated as presuppositions, not as absolute truths, but as principles of conduct. If a specific belief doesn't produce the results you want, you have choice to change it. Because beliefs are essentially assumptions, you can choose to act as if a more helpful assumption is true. By updating these internal programs, you allow your brain to begin processing options that were previously filtered out. Let's make this tangible by using a physical notebook to map out your current mindset. Step 1 is identifying a specific behavior or emotional response that you want to adjust. Think of a minor daily stressor, like the way your shoulders tenses up the moment you hear a specific email notification ping. For this initial exercise, stick to something marginally unpleasant. We want to practice the mechanics on small frustrations first. Please leave heavy-duty traumas to a trained NLP practitioner or therapist. We call the external event that starts the reaction the trigger. In our example, the trigger is the sound of the notification. Now identify the limiting belief that the trigger activates. When that notification pings, are you telling yourself, I'm incompetent, or I'll never get through this pile? Physically write down this trigger belief pair in your notebook. Seeing it on paper turns an abstract feeling into a concrete thought pattern you can examine. Externalizing the belief is the first step toward loosening its grip. You are no longer being the emotion, you are observing a program you've been running. Now we apply content reframing. This is the process of changing the meaning of an event by shifting the frame of reference around it. When the meaning changes, your internal response changes with it. Look at your notebook and ask, what do I assume about this issue that limits me? This defines your current frame, the rigid assumption that this is hard. Now ask, what would be a more empowering belief? We shift to a resourceful state, recognizing the belief itself is the obstacle. A word of caution. Avoid the Pollyanna pattern. A reframe won't work if it feels glib or unrealistic. It must be a respectful, grounded perspective that you can actually act on. If the reframe is successful, you'll notice a physiological shift. Your muscles may relax slightly as your brain begins to evaluate the experience through this new, more useful lens. This mental flexibility is what allows you to break out of self-fulfilling prophecies. You are no longer stuck with one interpretation of reality. Even with a new belief, your body might still react to the old anchor, that physical association between the trigger and your stress response. We need to desensitize this link. Close your eyes and enter a completely neutral, calm state. Breathe deeply and focus on maintaining this physical tranquility. Now imagine your trigger, that email ping, in small doses while staying in this calm state. You are training your body to remain neutral even when the external trigger is present. This desensitization creates a break in the old automatic program. It gives you the space to develop a new habit of remaining calm rather than tensing up. By choosing your physical state ahead of time, you maintain your internal environment. You are no longer at the mercy of every external ping or notification. To keep this new mindset sharp, use affirmations. These are pithy statements that keep your mind focused on your desired outcome. The grammar of an affirmation is vital. Phrase it in the present tense as an ongoing process. Saying, I am becoming more and more relaxed, tells your unconscious mind that the work is happening right now. You can also use a 5 pleasures log to build a permanent positive anchor. Each day, record 5 small wins in your notebook: a pleasant conversation, a kind gesture, or the smell of a bakery. This specifically retrains your RAS to filter for resources and pleasures instead of threats. These small, daily decisions and focus lead to significant shifts in your overall confidence. You are effectively teaching your brain a new way to see the world. Review your notebook entries. You have identified a limiting belief, redefined its meaning, and practiced a physical strategy to stay neutral. Remember, NLP is about your attitude and acting on what you believe. You won't know the worth of these new presuppositions unless you use them to guide your daily actions. Before you go to bed tonight, list your first 5 pleasures. It's the simplest way to turn this tutorial into a permanent habit for a more resilient mindset. The mind's straitjacket is only as tight as your assumptions allow it to be. You now have the tools to reframe future obstacles into your own psychological resources.